Cavy Central Guinea Pig Rescue.
Over the last few days, I'm catching up on loads of emails and contact with people, as well as other things going on in the background here with rescue. I have received a number of calls from people about having lost guinea pigs in recent days and weeks. Now, it certainly stands out as being way more at this point in time than, say, several months ago. And this happens year to year. But what I wanted to share with you is that it's related to the seasonal change that we're having right now. So wherever you are in the world, there are changes occurring that will affect your guinea pigs, whether they're indoors or out, indirectly or not. You need to be aware of these. And so often we overlook it when these little creatures are really susceptible to so much. So let's delve into that a little bit and talk about what could actually be affecting your piggies right now. So here we are in the southern hemisphere. I'm in Sydney, and of course we have just commenced with autumn. So if you're in the northern part of the world, of course you're going into spring. So we have some significant changes that are happening that will impact. And typically what happens is we start to get these weather change patterns that occur quite directly at this time. So here in Sydney, for example, last week we had a considerable amount of rain. Now we have had very little rain. It's pretty dry here, and anyone living in New South Wales would know how dry the grass is and how we struggle a bit with water. So we have suddenly had this onset of rain and this massive downpour over a short period of time. What that has done is also trigger temperatures to move within like a 10-degree radius, which is that's a big spread. So for a small animal that might be, let's say, on a balcony caged or not within an indoor environment, they can actually feel more of that temperature change than we can. We might notice we're putting on more blankets at night or needing to warm up a bit, but of course they have this same need occurring at the same time. So change of season, guys, we need to be aware of what's happening to the animals out there. So let's just think about this a bit more. When we look at weather change and the conditions that this brings, one of the key factors is respiratory. Now, with guinea pigs, the sorts of things that they can contract at this time would be respiratory illnesses. Now, if one of them did become unwell, of course, that is really contagious to other guinea pigs that you may have. So I've actually had a couple of people who, while they've lost a guinea pig a week, 2 weeks ago, they've suddenly now lost their second guinea pig without thinking that there could be a connection in what's going on. So if you have lost an animal or that animal is sick, please look at the other animals as well, because if anything contagious is impacting their health, you might find that they can have an onset of illness quite quickly after as well. Again, triggered by the weather changes we're having right now. Food is something that changes. We eat seasonally. So if we look at the food that's readily available, this changes. And of course it changes for our animals as well, where some people will look at vegetables and fruits that are, for example, better priced. This will change depending on the season. So where you may have had a lot of capsicums at a lower price and suddenly you've got a lot of cucumbers, again, these two vegetables are very different in their water content. So if you suddenly and only fed one of them, of course there would be an imbalance to what your guinea pig's eating. So that variety we've talked about in the past, keeping the variety spread fairly evenly, is something you need to be conscious of in change of season. So don't fall for the fact that suddenly there's more tomatoes on special or there's something else. Keep that variety stable for your guinea pigs out there, and again, you won't have sudden onset of any gut-related issues there. One of the things that does also change at this time of year, and it's not always so obvious as being a culprit, but grasses change. And again, I can already see it in our grass here, that it's suddenly shooting off in all directions, where for the last month it's been dry and it's been, you know, not very long. Suddenly it's all taking off, and we've got this really lush green grass appearing, where in the past it was much drier. So again, the water content in what we're feeding, if we think we're just giving grass time, or we're putting our guinea pigs on an area that is grassy, but a week ago it was very dry grass, bear in mind that their gut needs to be able to deal with that. So again, variety. If you are giving them grass time like that and the grass is very, very lush all of a sudden, make sure you put some hay out there so that they can pick and choose, that they can regulate it a bit more, and it's less likely that you'll get any problems in that way. For those people that are in the other hemisphere, they're going into hotter temperatures, we tend to think of their hides that they might use as being suitable for example, grass time. But one factor is that if they're made of plastic, they can become really hot under those hides. So considering what your hide is even made of can be something to consider with these weather changes that are going on. So weather appropriate conditions for your guinea pigs, ensuring that it's fairly stable, that we keep the variety of food very similar to what it has been all the way along, and then in that way we maintain their health at those levels. One of the last factors that does have a huge impact on guinea pigs at this time of year is of course the change in humidity. So where we have lots more water around by way of rain, or in humid conditions, if it's a hot day and you're near oceans and you get greater humidity, that moisture in the air, regardless of the source, really does accelerate fungal conditions, and mites just love it. So even today I had someone visit that was fantastic. We were able to sort piggies out, but they had a little fungal condition blooming right there that they had no idea about. So keep an eye on your piggies, check them thoroughly. If there is any moisture about, then they're very prone to those sorts of conditions coming on board. Be really careful, check your piggies out now. Signs that they are being affected by the changes that we have, if they start to become lethargic, if they're not reactive, if you find that there's any sort of nasal discharge or eye discharge, that can indicate a respiratory infection or cold of some sort. They might, for example, start to lose more hair, indicative of maybe a fungal condition or mites being on board. So just be really careful checking them out and watching them at this time while the weather patterns are changed. This applies to indoor and outdoor piggies. And the reason for that is that even the moisture content inside and outside can be very similar, even if in aircon buildings. We also change and adjust the aircon temperature as we go through the months, so it's something to be mindful of. The vegetables change, the ability to actually have different grasses or a particular type of grass will change. Even today, I cannot get oat and hay again. I can't believe it. So the produce store is out again. It's amazing. So all of their supply chain people don't have it. So here we go, wanting oat and hay by the bale, of course. But you know, seasonal changes do impact in diet in different ways, and of course the number of calls I've had with piggies being lost due to things happening at this time has again shot up. So guys out there, just keep an eye on your piggies. The big thing for today is really seasonal change, and to be aware of what that means in light of your animals and your pets, that you take the right precautions to watch them, monitor them, pick up on any changes in their behavior really quickly, but also to keep things as stable and as repetitious as possible, so that they don't feel the impact of that. Hey, are you a member on our channel? Have you clicked on subscribe yet? Please do so now, and this will help other people also find our content, which will help other guinea pigs that need our help. Thanks everyone.